Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of BTTH the Flame Emperor episode number 227 based on novel. So let's start. Quickly withdraw. And Xiao Yan just smelled the awakening smell of these puppet guards. His scalp was numb, his figure exploded, and without looking back, he pulled Qing'e and the two towards the bronze giant gate. With that moment's perception, Xiao Yan knew that these guys were extremely powerful, but they were not something he could handle, so he had to go for the best. Crash. When the medicinal pill on Xiao Yang's palm turned into white smoke and poured into the body of the puppet guard, the giant bronze gate also slammed shut, blocking all of Xiao Yang's escape routes. Damn it. Xiao Yan couldn't help cursing when he just arrived in front of the giant bronze gate and saw that his retreat was blocked, and there was no way to retreat. Brother Xiao Yang. Qing Wen also realized that something was wrong, and frowned. It was obvious that an incomparably tyrannical aura in the pill hall was slowly waking up. The weakest guards of these puppets also have the peak of Do Di, and there are even real Do Xian strong. And they are puppets, they don't know pain at all, they only know killing. It's really careless. Xiao Yang stared at the puppet guards who slowly opened their pupils, full of killing intent, and said word by word. Boom boom boom. Before Xiao Yang finished speaking, those puppet guards suddenly opened their pupils, their bodies regained their vitality, their figures moved suddenly, and in a short moment they came to Xiao Yang and them. The 10 puppet guards, all 10 with bright eyes, showed a chilling meaning to Xiao Yang and the others. The whole body exuded the radiance of Baiji, but they did not have any blood, but their strength was the real peak of Do Di, the 10 puppets at the peak of the Do Emperor. And Qing'e looked at the 10 puppets, her eyebrows stood upright. Obviously, even if they gathered the strength of the 3 of them, if they wanted to deal with the 10 puppet guards at the peak of the Do Emperor, I was afraid that it would be more difficult to deal with. Getting to the sky is hard. It's not over yet. At this time, Xiao Yang stared at a figure not far away, and said vigilantly. The two of Qing'e followed Xiao Yang's gaze and saw a cloud of colored smoke slowly surrounding a puppet, and the puppet was covered with colored smoke. As for the strength, compared to the 10, the puppet of the peak of the Emperor is even stronger. Doxian, puppet. At this moment, Qing Wen's face became extremely ugly, and he swallowed a sip of saliva with difficulty, and the corners of his mouth became dry. Relying on the strength of Qing'e and Xiao Yang at the peak of the Do Emperor, and the addition of Qing'e's 8th turn 9-star Do Emperor, if you want to deal with the puppets of the 10 Do Emperor's peak, I am afraid you have to pay a considerable price. On this basis, together with a fighting immortal puppet, the chances of winning the 3 of them are probably infinitely close to 0. Brother Xiao Yang. At this time, Qing Wen couldn't help but say, his voice was full of decisiveness. The current strength of this fighting immortal puppet is not very stable. It should be above the half-immortal, but it has not recovered its real fighting immortal strength. Can the 2 of you stop the time for the Do Xian puppet to take a stick of incense? Xiao Yang obviously sensed Qing Wen's decisive intention and asked with a frown. Now, only if you quickly solve the 10 puppets of the peak of Do Di can you solve the predicament. What? When Qing'e heard this, it was like a bolt from the blue. Qing'e and Qing Wen were both smart people. They naturally knew that Xiao Yang would choose the 10 Do Emperor peak puppets, not because they were greedy for life and fear of death, and from a certain point of view, the 10 Do Emperor peak powerhouses were even it is more dangerous than the fighting fairy puppet. Moreover, Qing Wen already had a desperate plan, but when Xiao Yang said this, he immediately calmed down. Trust me. If the 2 of you can stop the Do Xian puppet for a stick of incense, I have a way to deal with these 10 Do Emperor peak puppets. But if you can't, then you can only wait to die. Xiao Yang said with heavy eyes. Yes. When Qing Wen heard this, he looked at Xiao Yang with admiration. Because the 10 Do Emperor puppets are more terrifying than Do Xian puppets, and Xiao Yang is not in charge of stopping them. Judging from his tone, it seems that he has the confidence to solve the 10 Do Emperor puppets. The medicinal pills in the medicine refining cauldron have a boosting effect on them. Remember not to let them destroy the medicine refining cauldron. Do it. In the next moment, just as the words fell, Xiao Yang let out a loud shout. Okay. Qing'e and Qing Wen looked at each other, and their eyes became heavy. They knew that these puppets should be the guards used by the master of refining medicine to suppress this place. If these guys are dealt with, all the treasures here will belong to them, but if they fail, I'm afraid the end will be extremely bleak. Boom boom boom. As soon as they started, Qing'e and Qing Wen, the dazzling black and white life and death directly emerged, and then the figures jumped and gathered towards the Do Xian puppet. Crash. The head of the Do Xian puppet was covered in colored smoke, revealing a solid forehead protected by a helmet. Slightly glanced at Qing'e and Qingwen, and knew the strength of the two, and then the Dozian puppet shouted, and the colored smoke was slowly swallowed away, and then the whole face was revealed. What a tyrannical power! Qing'e couldn't help but said, looking at the looming thick muscles under the silver armor of the fighting fairy puppet in front of her. Sunny hand. Big sun tear the wind hand. At the next moment, Qing'e and Qingwen looked at each other. The dazzling black and of life and death was directly in front of the two of them, surging frantically, and in a short while they converged into two paths with a rushing wind-breaking sound. The energy palm attacked the Doxian puppet. Two huge energy palms just emerged, and the two of them shouted loudly, projecting them directly at the Dozian puppet. Susu. Seeing this, the Doxian puppet exuded a burst of colorful energy from its silver armor, and then did not dodge or evade, as if planning to take the blow. This guy, is he crazy? And Qing'e looked at this scene, and a strangeness appeared in her beautiful eyes. Qing'e knows that although her Qingtian hand is not very powerful, it is also a genuine immortal rank peak fighting skill, and her brother's big sun-tearing wind hand is a holy rank fighting skill. Half-immortal powerhouses can be instantly obliterated. Bang bang bang. The next moment, the doubts lingering in Qing'e's heart slowly disappeared. Because Qing'e was shocked to see that when the two palms of huge energy came into contact with the silver armor of the Dozian puppet, the energy suddenly weakened, and then a small amount of energy was slowly injected into the body of the Dozian puppet through the silver armor. With such a move, the originally extremely unstable strength of the Doxian puppet was actually stabilized at the level of the initial stage of the one-star Doxian. What is the silver armor of this fighting fairy puppet? Not only can it weaken our attack, but it can even turn our attack into our own strength. Qingwen was also shocked by the scene in front of him, and said slowly, "Brother, we can't attack now, otherwise it will only add irresistible pressure to Xiao Yang." Qing'e said with a slight movement of her lips, apparently this Dozian puppet has just absorbed the attack of the two of them, and now her strength has been completely. It is stable in the early stage of one-star Dozian. If it is attacking, it will undoubtedly increase its power. Okay. We will be responsible for dealing with him. Qingwen also knew that if they wanted to defeat this immortal puppet with the strength of the two of them, it might not be realistic, and now they can only pin their hopes on Xiao Yang. And as Qing'e and Qingwen did not attack, and passively defended, Xiao Yang, who was besieged by 10 Do Emperor peak puppets on the other side, was not very happy. I still underestimate these puppets. Xiao Yang's figure kept dodging, but the Ni Gong WN deep inside his body was spinning at a high speed. Obviously something was brewing. However, Xiao Yang was also depressed. His body was originally quite advanced, but he was still a little embarrassed by the siege of these 10 puppets of the peak of Do Di. Originally, the Golden Demon puppet could handle it, but after the strength skyrocketed, the Golden Demon puppet might not be able to use it anymore. And I'm afraid the improvement of the Golden Demon puppet has almost reached its limit. It seems that it can't be used in the future. After all, it can only be comparable to the mid-stage powerhouses of the 7-star Do Emperor, which is too weak. But if these guys in front of me can be subdued, I'm afraid it will be a very powerful help. Xiao Yang's figure was still constantly avoiding the attacks of 10 Do Emperor peak puppets, he thought to himself. It is strange to say that these 10 Do Di peak puppets seem to possess intelligence. No matter how Xiao Yang dodged, the attack was not in vain, but flashed towards his own fatal spot. Fortunately, Xiao Yang made a decisive decision and nothing happened. And for some reason, after Xiao Yang used his soul power, he suddenly felt a rather painful aura inside these guys, as if they were being controlled by someone. These puppets shot out one after another tyrannical attacks, and the terrifying Do Chi beams attacked the fast-moving Xiao Yang. After escaping for so long, it's time for you to taste the power of the formation. Lightning Net Fire Formation. The next moment, tyrannical rays of light emerged from Xiao Yang's body, and immediately, the 10 puppets of the peak of Do Di were shrouded away. This formation was originally given to him by Zhu Jin, and extended after adding himself into the Holy Flame. And that fiery red formation instantly trapped the 10 puppets at the peak of Do Di, and Xiao Yang's figure jumped into it. Formation. When Qing'e and Qingwen, who were constantly circling with the Dozian puppet, saw a large scene surrounded by fiery red rays of light, they couldn't help exclaiming. In front of the two of them, the fiery red light obscured their sight, and inside was the formation that Xiao Yang had displayed. The ferocity of the formation, but they are very clear. A tyrannical formation is enough to stand up to a well-trained army, and the scrolls of the formation are almost extinct. The array of magic scrolls. It seems that this guy is really a young master from a big family who came out to experience it. Qing Wen murmured slowly in his heart. Obviously, Xiao Yang displayed a formation that trapped the peak of Tendo Emperors, letting Qing Wen snort. A wrong judgment was made. What Qing Wen did not know was that Xiao Yang did not rely on the formation scrolls, but the formations directly activated by the core inscriptions of life, which were more powerful than the formations arranged using the formation scroll. It seems that Brother Xiao Yang really has a solution. Brother, we're going to hold on for a while. Qing'er was obviously just out of the arena, and she didn't think so much about Qing's book, so she became entangled in the fighting immortal puppet in front of Du. These guys. Xiao Yang was in the sky above the lightning net fire formation, his eyes were slightly fixed on the 10 puppets, and he muttered. And these 10 puppets, even if they were temporarily trapped in the formation by Xiao Yang, did not show any panic, but between each other, a trace of silver light continued to radiate from the 10 people, and then they were connected together. Followed by a burst of dazzling silver in the pupils of the 10 people. These guys are incredible. Xiao Yang was entrenched in the air. Seeing this scene, he couldn't help but say. The silver aura on the 10 puppets just now, from a certain point of view, can be said to be their life. The silver light seems to be quite mysterious, and the 10 puppets want to use this to find the enemy. Boom boom boom. Before Xiao Yang could react, the 10 puppet figures exploded and attacked Xiao Yang in mid-air. The strength of their attack was so strong that the half-immortal powerhouse could only temporarily dodge. It's good to come. But don't underestimate my lightning net fire formation. And Xiao Yang saw Tendo Emperor peak puppets attacking him, without the slightest intention of dodging, and even the breath became hot. A dazzling thunder of thunder gathered from all directions in this space. Huilei Wang, give me a bundle. The next moment, the power of the blue-yellow holy flame swept over Xiao Yang, and immediately in the space, there were thunder beams with a size of hundreds of feet, with overwhelming aura. It turned out to be the moment when the blue-yellow holy flame was wrapped, and it instantly turned into a huge net of fire and thunder of thousands of feet. Boom boom boom. The 10 puppets obviously did not expect that Xiao Yang and Xiao Yang's strength at the peak of the Dodi district would still fight with them recklessly boom boom boom. But the next moment, these 10 puppets are like the power of the chickens, and they are directly bound by the Huilei net. The 10 puppets were restrained by Xiao Yang's blow, and they immediately surged wildly, struggling hard, as if trying to break free. Let me help you free yourself. Seeing this, Xiao Yang couldn't help shaking his head hungry and then turned towards the 10 people bound by the Huilei net. With the tyranny of Huilei Wang, Xiao Yang has the confidence to trap these Tendo Emperor peak puppets for a while. After all, no matter what, the fire in Huilei network is also the fusion of 2 kinds of holy flames. Roar. Seeing Xiao Yang approaching, the 10 puppets let out a roar like a wild beast. You guys should also be the ones who broke into this place rashly. It's just bad luck that I followed this pharmacist's way. I'll free you now. Xiao Yang finished speaking, his eyes closed gently, and the power in his soul realm immediately emerged. Crash. With the emergence of soul power, these 10 guys suddenly quieted down, and even a satisfied smile appeared on their faces. Thanks. The next moment, the 10 puppets finally made a very vague sound, and they turned into a pile of ashes in front of Xiao Yang. It seems that this alchemist is very bad. And Xiao Yang looked at the 10 puppets that were turned to ashes in an instant, and couldn't help cursing. What a bad guy. Xiao Yang scolded intermittently. Xiao Yang discovered from the very beginning that these 10 puppets seemed to be different from the Dozian puppet, and with Xiao Yang's powerful soul power, it was also a vague guess that the Dozian puppet was the real guardian, and these 10 puppets were the real guardians. A puppet? I am afraid it is also a human who broke into here to try to steal the treasure, but for some reason, Dao was controlled. It turned out that Xiao Yang guessed that as long as he helped them release the control of their souls, the 10 puppets would immediately calm down, and then he could take the opportunity to control them. But who knew that Xiao Yang had just released his soul control, and these puppets suddenly lost all their vitality and turned into ashes. As for the secret, I am afraid it has something to do with the alchemist who fell here. Oh, forget it. Let's go and deal with that guy outside first. I hope you won't let me down here. Xiao Yang let out a short disappointment, and then the lightning net and fire array were instantly put away. Are you all right? Just after finishing the 10 puppets, he immediately left to the 2 of them. Xiao Yang. Seeing this, Qing'er tried her best to respond with a smile, even if she was overwhelmed by the Dozian puppet. Brother Xiao Yang. And Qingwen looked at Xiao Yang's free hand and said, but the figure was also quite embarrassed by the continuous attacks of the Doshen puppets. By the way, what about the 10 puppets? In the next moment, although the space of the formation was taken away by Xiao Yang, there was still some power left, so the place where Xiao Yang fought was still blank, blocking the clear air. The sight of the instrument died. I originally wanted to take them as used ones, but who would want to be beaten like this? Xiao Yang helplessly spread his hands, his voice filled with regret. What? Dead? At this time, when Qing Wen heard the words, it was like a thunderbolt in his heart. That is the puppet of the top 10 Do Di. If Xiao Yang's strength reaches Banxian and if he is stronger, then he can kill 10 puppets in a hurry, but Xiao Yang's strength at this time is only the peak of Do Di. With the time when Do Di was at his peak, he killed 10 puppets with the same strength. Qing Wen had never heard of such a victory. Let's deal with this guy first. Qing'er, step back first. Xiao Yang looked at Qing Wen so shocked, so he had to divert his attention. Okay. Qing'er nodded slightly when she heard the words. Apparently fighting with the Doxian puppet for a long time made her feel powerless. Be careful, the silver armor on this guy can absorb our attacks and turn it into his own strength. Qing Wen said solemnly. Apparently after a long battle, he did not find this guy's weakness. Really? I'll try it. When Xiao Yang heard this, he said as if he had some plan. I'll cover you. When Qing Wen heard the words, he flashed his figure and came to the Doxian puppet, trying to attract his attention. 7th layer breaking the sky ruler. Boom boom boom. Xiao Yang's figure flickered, and he came directly to the Doxian puppet, and then he took off the ancient ruler of the eternal fire behind him. The fluctuations actually made a slight vibration in this space. When the Doxian puppet saw Xiao Yang's tyrannical attack, not only did he have no intention of dodging, he even revealed an inexplicable smile on the corner of his mouth. Boom boom boom. Although Xiao Yang noticed the slight changes in the Doxian puppet, he didn't have any resistance, and the dazzling 7-layered sky-shattering light attacked the Doxian puppet. Whoosh whoosh. Just when the amazing Chimang was about to attack the Doxian puppet's palm suddenly leaned forward slightly, and then a silver vindictive energy enveloped it and grabbed the void in front of him. Actions. Boom boom boom. In the next moment, Xiao Yang's Kai-On was also impartial, and it just landed on the palm of Doxian's puppet, and his energy was rapidly weakened. CC. After a while, Xiao Yang's Kai-On turned into a trace of pure energy, slowly pouring into it through the armor of the fighting fairy puppet. And with the infusion of this power, the original strength was only a Doxian puppet in the early stage of the 1-star Doxian, but at this time, the strength has increased slightly. In just a short moment, all Chimang's power was absorbed by the Doxian puppet, and then the Doxian puppet looked at Xiao Yang from a height below 0, but did not move. Retreat. Seeing this, Xiao Yang stepped on the ground with his toes, and with the help of the impact, he stepped back directly. How is it? Seeing Xiao Yang retreating, Qing Wen also followed. The armor on his body is the way to win. Xiao Yang said slightly, his pupils twitched quickly, obviously planning how to deal with this guy. For a while, you will feign and cover me, I will try. After a while, Xiao Yang suddenly had an idea, and then said slowly, let's go. Qing Wen was not a procrastinator either. He went directly to the Doxian puppet in front of him. The Doxian puppet paused for a while, and then made a rather excited sound, apparently just absorbing Xiao Yang's power, which made him quite obsessed. Beast, let the horse come over. Qing Wen shouted to absorb his attention. The power of life and death perfectly blended in his body. If it was a coincidence, it would be enough to advance to the real Doxian. Roar. Seeing that Qing Wen was so arrogant, the Doxian puppet immediately let out a cry like a beast, and the figure disappeared in place in an instant, attacking Qing Wen. This beast absorbed the power of Xiao Yang's attack, and the speed is even faster. Seeing this, Qing Wen frowned and supported her hard. And Xiao Yang nodded secretly when he saw the two being in such a stalemate. The next moment, on Xiao Yang's palm, 2 prismatic crystals exuding different colors slowly emerged. This time, it's up to you. Xiao Yang murmured to himself, then closed his eyes and calmed down. A steady stream of cyan flames and khaki flames continued to emanate from it, wrapping Xiao Yang's entire body. These things, such strong fluctuations, what exactly is this? When Qing'er in the distance saw this, she shook her head slightly. Obviously, the 2 prismatic crystals on Xiao Yang's palm gave her a very heavy feeling. Brother Qing, get out of the way. The next moment, seeing that Qing Wen was about to lose, Xiao Yang's voice slowly sounded. Okay. When Qing Wen heard the words, his voice swept away, and the attack range of the Doxian puppet flashed directly. The next moment, as Xiao Yang's voice fell, a huge fireball composed of cyan flames and khaki flames suddenly shot towards the Doxian puppet. Susu. When the Doxian puppet saw this, It was like the scene of absorbing Xiao Yang's previous attack. Since you want to suck, give me a hard suck. Xiao Yang couldn't help roaring when he saw that the immortal fighting puppet directly absorbed his own attack without thinking at all. Although this huge fireball is not a fusion of two holy flame powers, it is just a mixture of two holy flame powers, but its power is probably not something that a fighting immortal puppet can absorb. Boom boom boom. The dazzling cyan flame and khaki color formed a huge fireball, which directly attacked the Doshen puppet. And the Doshen puppet didn't know why, but the silver armor covering its body was glowing with silver light, trying to absorb Xiao Yang's attack. What a powerful attack! Qing Wen stepped aside. Even if it was far away, the huge fireball composed of cyan flames and khaki flames gave him a sense of heaviness. He knew that if the attack fell on him on the body, I am afraid that if I don't die, I will also have to shed a layer of skin. I hope Xiao Yang can succeed, otherwise he will have to return without success. The underground space of Ghost Moon Well can only be entered every time when the moon is full on a sunny day. If it fails this time, I'm afraid it will take a long time. Qing Wen looked at the attack in the air and said solemnly, I want to see if it's your armor or my fireball. Xiao Yang couldn't help laughing when he saw the Doshen puppet act like this. Xiao Yang is confident that if the fluctuations of the two holy flames are merged, the energy fluctuations generated can instantly obliterate the Dosyan puppet, but now that he has just arrived in the ghost world, it is obvious that these means of pressing the bottom of the box cannot be exposed. So Xiao Yang is only using the power of the holy flame crystals is mixed together, and its power is naturally not as strong as the fusion. Boom boom boom. When the blue and yellow fireball just touched the Dosyan puppet seemed to feel extremely tyrannical pressure, and the silver light on the puppet continued to emerge, and there was a faint smell of swallowing blue and yellow. Signs of flames. If you want to smoke, I will do what you want. Xiao Yang was not surprised when he noticed this scene. He let out a loud shout, and then the two holy flame crystals on the palm of his hand sent a steady stream of flame attacks away. At first, the immortal fighting puppet could calmly absorb Xiao Yang's blue-yellow flames, but as time passed, the silver light actually produced an aura of fear, and even under the burning of the blue-yellow fireballs, the silvery flames swept away. A trace of cracks appeared on the armor slowly. It's almost there. And watching this scene, Xiao Yang didn't hesitate. His figure burst out, with a dazzling black and of life and death on his palm. He madly attacked the Dosyan puppet. The Dosyan puppet's entire attention was absorbed by the blue-yellow fireball, so naturally he didn't notice Xiao Yang. Bang bang bang. The next moment, Xiao Yang's tyrannical palm, which contained the power of life and death, directly approached the shattered armor of the Dosyan puppet that had already been burned by the blue-yellow fireball, and the sound of shattering slowly sounded. Successful? When they noticed this scene, Qing'er and Qing Wen in the distance both sank their eyes and exclaimed, Crash! A shattering voice sounded slowly, and then the silver armor on the Doshen puppet's body fell down in small pieces. The silver armor fell without a trace, thus revealing the true face of this fighting immortal puppet hidden under the armor. The appearance is the same as that of ordinary human beings, but the whole body looks a little shriveled, as if it is a mummified corpse, very terrifying. Xiao Yang, don't let him go, burn him. At the next moment, Qing Wen suddenly remembered something and shouted loudly, Is there anything in this dry corpse that doesn't work? Xiao Yang heard the words and did as he said, but questioned, because by virtue of his perception, Xiao Yang smelled a tingling wave from the dry corpse that made his scalp tingle. Boom boom boom. After all, the blue-yellow fireball is a mixture of two kinds of holy flames, and its power naturally goes without saying. In just a few breaths, the mummified corpse was burned with nothing left. Whoosh whoosh. The next moment, Xiao Yang was about to withdraw his hand, but something flew out of the mummy that had already been devoured and refined by the blue-yellow fireball. What? Xiao Yang heard the words, his mind moved, and he said vigilantly, This is a good thing, it's a corpse pill. At the next moment, Qing Wen quickly took the things that emerged from the blue-yellow fireball into his pocket, and then opened his mouth. Corpse pill? Xiao Yang was shocked when he heard the words. It's a pity, there are actually only two. Qing Wen grabbed the two corpse pills in his hand, and then turned towards Xiao Yang. What is this corpse pill used for? Xiao Yang asked in confusion. I'm afraid almost no one knows about this, but I learned it from my father. This guy hiding under the Ghost Moon Well is not a normal alchemist. He always likes to use some living people to refine medicine pills, or to get some things that are despised by the world. And this immortal fighting puppet is probably also his proud work. Don't underestimate this immortal fighting puppet. According to my previous observations, This guy should have been soaked in countless mysterious liquids, and he has not eaten less of the magic pills. His whole body is full of treasures. And when it finally fell, it was burned by your flames, brother Xiao Yang, so by chance, 2 corpse pills were formed. Qingwen explained. The energy hidden in this corpse pill is quite huge. I don't know what is the use. Xiao Yang also nodded secretly after being said by Qingwen. It's very simple. The power contained in this corpse pill is enough for us to break through the Emperor Do. As for whether it is a half-immortal or a Do immortal, it is entirely up to us. Qing Wenwen smiled slowly. So, strong? Xiao Yang couldn't help but be surprised when he heard the words. Right. It's a pity that there are only 2 of them. These are yours, brother Xiao Yang. After Qing Wen finished speaking, a corpse pill with a high quality was handed to Xiao Yang. What was reflected in Xiao Yang's pupils was a bead the size of a dragon's eye. The bead was rosy throughout, and there was a faint blood emanating from it, and the huge energy contained in it was also the first time Xiao Yang had seen it in his life. Yes. Seeing this, Xiao Yang did not refuse, and put it away directly. With this thing, I am afraid that he can really advance to Dozian. Don't blame brother Qing for being greedy. This corpse pill can only swallow 1 piece, and I also have my own difficulties. I hope brother Xiao Yang. Qing Wen said when he saw Xiao Yang's subordinates. Brother Qing, what are you talking about? If it wasn't for brother Qing leading the way, I wouldn't be able to find this place, let alone get the treasures here. Xiao Yang smiled slightly. The huge soul power made Xiao Yang discover long ago that the 2 corpses this one was given to him by Qingwen, both in terms of texture and luster, it was far superior to his, so he didn't care too much. 2 corpse pills, 1 for you and 1 for me, that's my family Qing'er. Qingwen smiled. Brother, it's alright, let's look for it again, such a huge alchemy hall shouldn't have only so many treasures. Qing'er was quite free and easy, after all, she was still some distance away from breaking through to Emperor Do. Yep. Since the Guardian has been defeated, let's see what treasures are in this pill hall. After Qing Wen finished speaking, the eyes of the 3 of them all turned towards the pill hall in all directions. Be careful, everyone first look around. Don't touch the things here, otherwise the trigger mechanism will be bad. If you find anything, don't act on your own, explore together. Xiao Yang said softly. En. Qing'er and Qingwen nodded lightly when they heard the words, and then the 3 of them separated, and each went to the side to explore. I didn't realize that this alchemy hall is quite large. And Xiao Yang was also ready to explore. He raised his pupils and immediately looked at this extremely huge alchemy hall, and couldn't help but say. This pill hall is a square as a whole, but its width is several thousand meters, which is enough to show the grandeur of this pill hall. By the way, how were the 10 puppets controlled? Just as Xiao Yang started to walk, a doubt appeared. According to Xiao Yang's perception, he knew that the 10 Do-Di peak puppets were all serving the Dozian puppet, and that Dozian puppet was probably the proud work of the master of the Pill Palace. Forget it, let's see if there are any treasures first. After thinking for a while, he didn't think about it, and Xiao Yang didn't think about these things. The arrangement of this medicine refining cauldron is really mysterious. Xiao Yang walked around very carefully, and the power of his soul spread out. Once Qing'er and Qingwen were in danger, they would be able to find out immediately. Why do these medicine cauldrons appear in a circular arrangement as a whole? Are they protecting something? Xiao Yang walked around, but saw that in the center of the alchemy hall, many medicine cauldrons were arranged in exactly the same way, facing the alchemy hall impressively. The center revolves around it, as if to protect something. There should be something here. Xiao Yang heard the words, and suddenly his body fell slightly, passed directly under the cauldron, and came to the rear of the cauldron. These medicine refining cauldrons are tens of meters high, and many of the medicine refining cauldrons surround the center of the alchemy hall with water, and the scene in the center cannot be seen from the outside. This is. Xiao Yang just came to the rear through the medicine refining cauldron, and suddenly Xiao Yang fell into a brief contemplation, not for anything else, but because of what he saw in front of him. What was reflected in front of Xiao Yang was a sunken ground. Dozens of medicine refining cauldrons are arranged in an elliptical arrangement, and the sunken ground is well protected. If Xiao Yang hadn't come in, it would be difficult to find them, and these medicine refining cauldrons are surrounded by the sunken ground in front of them. There's something weird here. And Xiao Yang is also a keen person, not only with a huge soul power, but also with some intuitions formed by walking outside for many years. Just a glance, he found something wrong here. The sunken ground in front of him has steps, one by one, and there are about 20 steps before reaching the bottom. As for the bottom, it was a circular open space. The circular open space was about 10 meters in size, but there was nothing on it. It was this strangeness that made Xiao Yang a little surprised. Try it first. Xiao Yang swept his eyes around, but did not find any abnormality, and immediately said. As soon as he finished speaking, he immediately took a small stone from his side, activated his grudge, and projected it towards the ground he followed. This is the safest way. If there is any mechanism or danger, Xiao Yang can also respond immediately. Crackling. With a fierce energy, Xiao Shusha was directly projected by Xiao Yang into the center of the sunken ground, but nothing happened. Is it an illusion? Xiao Yang frowned upon hearing this. After a few minutes, it was still deadly silence. Forget it, let them come and have a look together. Xiao Yang heard the words, shook his head slowly, and immediately withdrew from the medicine refining cauldron. And as Xiao Yang left, a small crack appeared on the ground, and then the small stone was swallowed up. Have you found anything? After a while, Xiao Yang found Qing'e and Qing Wen and asked. In this alchemy hall, almost no panacea is seen, but a lot of gold and silver treasures are seen, which is very strange. Qing'e said with her eyebrows upside down. Qing'e is right. And we searched every corner of this pill palace, but we didn't find the bones of the owner of the pill palace, which is quite strange. I'm afraid there is some mechanism here. Qing Wen also looked around vigilantly. I found something. Xiao Yang nodded slightly after hearing this. What did you find? Qing Wen exclaimed when he heard this. You guys will come and have a look and you'll know. After Xiao Yang finished speaking, he directly led them towards the original place. This is 12 cauldrons to worship. And Qing Wen couldn't help but exclaimed immediately after passing through the medicine cauldron. 12 cauldrons to worship. Xiao Yang and Qing'e were slightly surprised when they heard the words. Obviously they didn't know what Qing's book meant. Haha, I don't blame you for not knowing. The worship of the 12 cauldrons is a rather ancient sorcery. It is said that it is a means used by some unrighteous people to protect their remains. The powerful energy contained in it may not be able to be deciphered by ordinary people. Qing Wen said. Then what's going on with the sunken ground in front of you? Xiao Yang asked Zaidu when he heard the words. Although this ground was not dangerous, Xiao Yang always felt that something was wrong. I'm afraid there is another mystery here. When Qing Wen heard the words, his eyes turned to the 12 fumigated medicine pots around here. That dinko is not right. The next moment Qing Wen gave the answer. Dinko? Xiao Yang heard the words and looked at him, but it was like what Qing said in the book. Ordinary cauldrons are introverted, because cauldrons are used to stimulate flames, and these 12 medicinal cauldrons, the cauldron above each one, depicts an extremely vicious head, and the cauldron is impressive it is open to the space in front of you. As long as these cauldrons are closed, I think the answer we want will appear. Qing Wen said. Do it. At the next moment, Qing Wen said, not wasting any time. Bang bang bang. The three figures swiftly moved towards the dinko, and in just a few breaths, the dinko was completely closed. Be careful. Qing Wen said, standing on the last medicine tripod. At this time, the mouths of the 12 medicine cauldrons, except for this one, have all been closed. I hope nothing will happen. Qing Wen said to himself, and when he finished speaking, he raised his palm fiercely and closed the mouth of the cauldron. And with the closure of the 12 cauldrons, a shocking scene appeared in front of the three of them. Everyone saw that the originally bland space below suddenly appeared a white mist, and then there seemed to be the sound of some mechanism turning, which made people shudder. This is evil medicine master. And as the white fog slowly disappeared, a skeleton appeared in the space below, and Qing Wen couldn't help but lose his voice, and a shock emerged in his heart. This video will end here.